But okay, Sam, the first tweet that we have is by Bernie Sanders. So he wrote, the Republican Party, who added 7.8 trillion to the national debt under President Trump, wants you all to believe they are very, very serious about the national debt now, that we are going to be taxing the wealthy to help the working class of this country. So just two things I wanted to say this. One, I guess this isn't a surprise to anyone, but the whole like debt thing, the way it's talked about is complete bullshit when it comes up to the to U.S. national debt. So that's bullshit. But I remember once I was so shocked. So when there was like the Romney and Obama election, so that election I was in university, and we were in Canada, but there was this kid and he really liked the Republican Party, right? And like he was having a debate with the professor, and he was like, "Yeah, but what about the debt? Like, what about the national debt?" I was just shocked at how much this person thought that was an issue. You know what I mean? Like he didn't only think that like having too much debt, the U.S. government having too much debt is an issue. Like I mean, for him, it was of such importance. I was just shocked that someone could care about an issue that is quite abstract, right? I mean, national debt of another country. For you to think that
Look,
is so important, I just remember finding it really funny.
I think the fact of the matter is the only country that should not care about its national debt is US. Every other nation should, though, because US is the only nation that, well, the international trade is done on dollars. So basically, US can print as much money as they want and go to as much as debt they want, really without feeling the inflation of it, at least short to medium
Yeah.
term. So, but yeah, so
No,
in a way, yeah, but if it was any other nation, though, that
I
does
would
matter.
I would add one thing. I would add one thing. And of course there are consequences after a
My
certain point.
headphones may
Oh, your
run out
headphones.
of battery,
Okay.
so yeah.
Well, if they do, if not, we just have one more tweet that it's I just want to say two things. I mean, of course, yes, after certain limit, there could be inflation issues or things like that. But I wouldn't say only the
And a
US.
different
Based
nation.
on based on what I understand, is countries who are currency issuers, so they have their own currency. For them, national debt can't be that much of an issue because, of course, they can always print and solve it if they need to. So it can become an issue. But yeah, I don't think only the US. I think countries who can, for instance, Greece
No,
couldn't bail itself out because it had to
yes.
ask the EU and Germany. But if it had its own currency, it could have bailed itself out and then maybe would have had other issues. But
No. But that's limited though. For example, you can look at Black Wednesday in 1990s Britain, where British pound, basically George Soros pretty much devalued British pound by
mm,
half or something. Yes, you're right, but that is also my headphone has ran out, so I'm just
yeah, go
again
ahead, change it.
talking to myself until. But yeah, just to not bore people, but you are completely right that as long as you can print your own money, you have more flexibility. But US has far more flexibility due to the fact that it's international uh, uh,
Yeah,
uh, the international currency. Yeah, I can
no,
hear you. So
100%. Can you hear me now?
yeah,
Yeah, no,
that
100%.
was
And
good.
one last thing, of
Almost
course.
seamless.
Yeah, no, that was very well. You're getting good at that. And last thing before we move to the next tweet, of course, comparing, thinking that national or country debt is the same thing as household debt, or of course,
Oh,
like the
that's both.
worst
Yeah.
comparison
Economy.
simile
Yeah.
ever. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our
Simile.
last, yeah, our last tweet. Cenk Uygur was fired up, but I mean, you got to. I mean, we Kyle Kalinske is always talking about Dave Rubin. I don't think we've ever talked about him. I mean, he's
Sam
unreal,
Cedar usually.
but damn, I mean,
Sam Cedar.
anyway, let's read the tweets in
He's the
order.
most. I mean, Dave Rubin is the most pathetic piece of shit human being
I
that
mean,
has
just look
probably
at his
lived.
tweets. It makes absolutely no sense. Bernie Sanders had
No,
tweeted, in
no.
America, elderly people should not be walking around without teeth in their mouth and should not be able to, and should and not be able to afford to go to a dentist. He tweets in response, so sell one of your 3 houses and get an implant, you old windbag. I mean, like,
Jesus.
what? And he
Uh,
wrote that this is and Cenk, you're this piece of shit who pretended to be on the left to get a job with us. What a fucking liar. Was your house paid for by right winger bigots? Worth it, you trash slut, whatever. But I mean, the Dave Rubin guy, like his tweet doesn't even make any sense. And I mean, some people
yeah,
tweeted
let
saying
me.
that Dave Rubin doesn't understand, like, because Jenko always makes this point that Republicans only think about themselves. So Dave Rubin, perhaps he
I
thinks that Bernie
genuinely.
Sanders is worried about himself, which is, of course, not the case. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'll just give it back to you in a second. But damn, this Dave Rubin tweet has to be like one
I
of the
mean, I
dumbest
don't
I've
want to
seen.
talk. To be honest, Joe Rogan did a thing, I think, with Dave Pacman and Dave Rubin. And I sometimes feel like he may be right that Dave Rubin may be just genuinely mentally, like, not very capable. And I cannot think of, again, like, it's like AOC, somebody hucks. I call these people hucksters, grifters, whatever. Like, generally, AOC, Dave Rubin are, in my mind, are. I know the term has been overused, but in my mind, they are grifter and huckster. Like, if you open a dictionary, they see their picture. Dave Rubin is so pathetic that I think, to be honest, Cenk mentioning right wingers is a bit unfair as well, because most right wingers or most
No.
centrists are also ignoring him. Sam Harris even doesn't want, like,
Mhm.
nobody wants to associate with him because he's just such a fool.
Yeah.
He's somebody who wants to be famous. He tried a stand-up comedy, he failed. He tried to be a left winger, he failed. He tried to be a liberal, he failed. Now he's trying to be a conservative and he's failing.
Well, he's
I mean,
succeeding at making some money somehow, though.
he
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 has a show
succeeds
and
he
put
succeeds
out a
in a
bullshit book.
short-term
Yeah.
funding from PragerU and Koch
Yeah.
brothers or whatever. But as a human being, I cannot think of a bigger failure. Uh,
Yeah.
as somebody who's a homosexual and then interviews people who consider homosexuals pretty much living sin, and then begs them to come to their parties, and then Ben Shapiro is like, no, I'm not going to come to your wedding, whatever. And then it's just, he's so pathetic. Like, people like him are the
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with you there. He's unbearable. I mean, I think I've listened to him for a total of 10 minutes in my life, thankfully, luckily. But yeah.